Man, oh man, today is such an interesting day for sports. I already mentioned it in the previous video, which was uploaded maybe like 20 minutes before this one, but I've had to scramble a little bit because obviously you're watching a video on the Montreal Canadiens and Vancouver Canucks game for today. I was bouncing around between this and the Blue Jays, and then the Detroit Red Wings had themselves a baller of a comeback against the St. Louis Blues. So much going on in sports, but man, oh man, we have to talk about this Canucks and Canadiens game. It's always so conflicting for me whenever these two teams play off against each other because Montreal always seems to beat Vancouver, and I always have to have a little bit of sympathy because a good chunk of my fan base here is Vancouver-based. So of course, I'm disappointed in my Canucks. I want to see them win as many games as they can, but if they lose to Montreal specifically, and Demidov, Slafkovsky, and Hudson get power play points in the process, helping out my fantasy team, then I can't be too mad, unfortunately. Speaking about fantasy, I just wanted to say at the very beginning, I was debating starting Thatcher Demko over Jakub Dobes today, because ESPN, they have a rule where you can't set your lineup after the first game of the day. And the first game of the day today was 9:30 a.m. in the morning. So I was like, do I go with Dobes or do I go with Demko? But then I realized, I was like, wait a minute, Vancouver plays Edmonton tomorrow, so they're going to start Lankinen today. And then they're going to save Demko for the Edmonton game tomorrow. Dobes probably is going to go back because Montembeault sucks right now. Yeah, let's keep Dobes in. If he can get the win, then I'll be happy with that because I'll get some points. And Dobes ended up getting that win. The Montreal Canadiens have defeated the Vancouver Canucks in regulation with a score of 4-3. Now, here's the thing. You can say what you want about Dobes and fantasy points and whatever, but the truth is, it actually didn't look the best for him to open up this game because not only was Vancouver riding high on the momentum and the opportunity of newly acquired Lukas Reichel entering the lineup, but they also started things out with a really beautiful rush, started, initiated, and scored on by Elias Pettersson. 5 minutes into the game, Conor Garland throws it over to Petey, who dashes down the right wing, enters the zone, then he does a beautiful drop pass, leaving it for Filip Hronek, who was trailing maybe a second or two behind. Hronek picks it up, drives down the right side, and then tosses it in front for Petey, and Dobes totally is out of the play at this point. He was committed too hard on Hronek's side. Petey has ages to shoot. He receives, he takes, he shoots, he scores. It's a beautiful goal by Elias Pettersson for his second of the year, and it was all set up by him. Yes, Garland and Hronek got assists, but that goal was an Elias Pettersson masterclass goal, probably the best goal we have seen him score that he was primarily involved in creating in a long time. That was vintage Elias Pettersson going out there and getting things going, and that continued for a little bit more as Vancouver got themselves the 2-0 goal in the second period on the power play. It's Elias Pettersson over to Quinn Hughes, who takes a shot towards the goal, and it's tipped in front by Jake DeBrusk. Petey and Hughes, boys, they're going out there and scoring some assists on the same power play goal. This is exactly what Vancouver has needed a little bit more of the past few games here, and they beat Jakub Dobes, get themselves up 2-0. It's a good play for Petey, a good play for Hughes, lots of confidence for Quinn to be able to shoot it. As we mentioned earlier in today's show, the guy has arguably been a little bit too controlling of the offensive shifts, not trusting much of his teammates and not trusting them to do a lot of what they should be able to do offensively. Well, you can say that that didn't happen here because Petey gives the puck over to Hughes, he rips it, and Jake DeBrusk is there for a pin-perfect tip-in. However, you get yourselves Montreal bouncing back with a power play goal of their own 10 minutes later. It's Nick Suzuki, who buries a beautiful feed from Ivan Demidov. And oh my goodness, I was so happy watching this goal go in because I got Slafkovsky and Demidov on my fantasy team, and power play points are worth more than normal points. So I was like, wait a minute, what happened there? Slafkovsky got a touch on the puck before it was sent over to Demidov, and then Demidov, instead of shooting it, he throws it back to Suzuki. Not throws it back as in he starts doing the weird dance. No, he literally tosses it back the other way. Lankinen fully commits over to Demidov, which you cannot blame him for, because Ivan had the perfect shooting lane there. It looked like he was going to get a shot on goal, but nah. It is instead sent back over to Nick Suzuki for the wide open net to bring the lead back down to 1. Montreal is on the board, and they just continued to put it on in the third. Slafkovsky on the power play, off of an Atu-Ratu trip at the end of the second period, is able to tie the game with his 4th goal of the season. Slav throws it back over to Cole Caulfield, who finds Lane Hutson. Hutson throws it towards the goal. Demidov touches up. Then he sends it over to the side. Slafkovsky buries it, and that is a perfect goal for me because I've got Hutson on my fantasy team too. I was like, yes, let's go. These are all the guys I need to get points because I scratched Bolduc today, and I was like, yes, as long as Demidov, Slav, and Hutson can go off, especially on the power play, I'm a happy camper. And yeah, sure, it sucks for my Vancouver Canucks that the game is now in Montreal's favor. They've got the momentum, it's a tie contest. All it took was 7 minutes for Mike Matheson to then bury one by Kevin Lankinen, assisted by Carrier and Bolduc. This was not a nice goal for Lankinen to let in. You don't want to see him let in these long-range, really kind of no-screen wrist shots. I mean, there was sort of a screen for a split second, but it went away. I don't think Lankinen should have been in a position where he didn't see that one coming. He just gets beat, and this puck is coming to him from distance. It's a long ways away. I do think that Matheson delaying the shot a little bit kind of threw Lankinen off, because you can see that he was square for a split second before moving himself out of position just to try to get a better look at the shot. If Matheson shot that one right away, I think Lankinen probably would have had a much better time catching it. But no, he was totally beat here. Not a good look for Kevin Lankinen. I think a lot of Canucks fans are really starting to lose confidence in Lank the Tank, and for good reason too. He has not necessarily been the same caliber of goaltender that he was last year when he was stealing games for the Canucks, and we saw that especially here tonight against the Montreal Canadiens as the Habs got themselves the 3-2 lead. Give it a few minutes, though, and this is where we start to see Montreal come alive even more, because Ivan Demidov ends up getting a beautiful one-time slap shot out in front, assisted by Alexandre Carrier and Oliver Kapanen. That's my guy Demidov with his 3rd point of the night. It's a beautiful setup and a beautiful shot. Oh, Russian hockey players taking one-timers on the side. There's something so beautiful about that. Kucherov, Ovechkin, Demidov. But the Canucks don't go away without a fight. Because, with the goalie pulled, you have yourselves Vancouver actually bringing the game within 1 with about 4 minutes to play. Pettersson goes back over to Hughes, who goes back over to Petey, who throws it towards the goal, and it's Conor Garland who tips the puck in front. That's his 3rd of the season. Pettersson and Hughes get themselves another assist yet again. Elias Pettersson had 3 points in this game. And I think this might have been the best game we have seen out of Petey in years. Just with the confidence, the plays, the actual point production. Quinn Hughes looked frustrated as all heck, but he still ran away with this game with 2 points. But this was a game with some narratives. Cole Caulfield got hit by Evander Kane in a very damaging way. Caulfield was kind of down receiving the puck, and Evander Kane took full advantage of that, just burying the shaft of his stick into Cole Caulfield's back. It was not pretty at all. Evander Kane got a penalty for that, rightfully so. Kane's got to knock it off with that clown stuff. Lukas Reichel made his debut today. He was pretty alright. Honestly, he played fast. He probably couldn't have been any better for a guy suiting up for the first time after getting traded yesterday. He was alright. And Josh Anderson, I wanted to give a big shout out to him. He had a breakaway short-handed that he ended up missing and hitting the post on, which inevitably resulted in the Jake DeBrusk goal to make it 2-0. But he showed off some wheels as well that I wanted to get into the video here. So with that in mind, Vancouver, they lose on home ice 4-3 to the Montreal Canadiens. It's a pretty strong power play showing for the Habs. I thought 5-on-5 the Canucks were a little bit better, but still, that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, and I got my fantasy points from guys that I needed. So I'm happy, especially with the Red Wings winning against St. Louis in a huge comeback fashion as well. That was crazy. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about this Canucks and Canadiens game. I hope you enjoyed this video. 99, and bye.